If you can't, please just type in the chat box. Okay, great. Okay. So this webinar, we're going to go over some new things in Overdrive as far as format and some additions to the web app and some other good things, some changes with Zinio magazines, and I'm going to give you just a heads up on something that's coming soon to CLEVNET, which is Hoopla. So to get started, now this is not a relatively new update, but I don't know how our staff keep up with Overdrive and some of the updates that they have. They frequently update their blog with news and updates and things like that, but I'm not sure if any of your libraries do training, and if you know about this already, awesome. If you don't, this will be a great surprise for you. As of September of last year, the update to the web app is that they have taken away the Adobe authorization step. So new users, when they download the app, instead of having to authorize with an Adobe ID, they'll be able to either create an Overdrive account using Facebook or just creating an Overdrive account on their own. And it'll be much, much easier. I know a lot of us struggle with patrons. You know, they can't remember their username and password, or they have to create another Adobe ID, and then if the Adobe ID, email, and the Overdrive don't match, then, you know, then it doesn't sync. This will be much, much easier for them. I did actually try this with one of the library's Kindles, and for some reason it still wanted me in the settings. It still was asking for the Adobe authorization, but when I did it with my iPhone, I was pleasantly surprised that it didn't ask for that. So, and according to their blog and their instructions, Android devices shouldn't require it either. So just a heads up about that. The next thing I just stumbled upon this because I check out a lot of ebooks, and before, when you would check out an ebook or you put yourself on hold for an ebook, you would get an email telling you have 3 days to check this out. You know, if you don't check it out, it's going to go to the next person. You know, I'd usually forget or something like that. So I was surprised that when I got an email for something I was on hold for, and I went into my, I just opened up the app, went to my holds, and there was nothing there, and I thought, oh no, it disappeared. But actually, the new feature that they have right now is that patrons are put on an auto borrowing. So when they place a hold on an item in Overdrive, it'll automatically check out to them, and they will get an email telling them that the item is now in their account. I think it's difficult for me to say whether or not this is good or not. I mean, I think it's great because, you know, all of us, 3 days isn't a very long time to check something out. On the other hand, if they check it out, then, and they don't realize it for 5 days, they're a week into their borrowing period. I do think, however, that it will be great for circulation because we don't get those counts, all those holds. We don't get counts for holds. We only get counts for checkouts. So everything being on auto checkout is going to be awesome because our circ will go up. The downside to that is that if it automatically checks out to someone and there's another person, you have 20 people on the waiting list and they don't even read it, and they don't return it, they don't even know it's there, the next person still won't get it for a few weeks. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to go to my account. Being a little bit slow. Okay, so I'm going to go to my hold shelf, and you'll see that I have a few things on hold, and you'll see right here it says auto checkout is on. It's automatically turned on. That's the way they set it. You can click on auto check on your options, and you can turn it off. So are you sure you want to turn off auto check for race cars? Yes. Yes. It's thinking about it. Okay, so now it's turned off. So basically what will happen is I will just get the notification that it's available, and if I want to borrow it, I have to go into my hold shelf. So that's just something new to note. So if a patron comes up and says, I put something on hold and I got an email and I went to my hold shelf and it wasn't there, tell them to check their bookshelf because it's probably there. Okay, moving on to the next update is Overdrive's narrated ebooks. This happened late last year as well. Basically, these are only for Overdrive Read. The only type that we have currently are children's titles. I've been waiting for this for a long time. My kids love Tumble Books, which is animated, narrated ebooks, and I've been waiting for Overdrive to come out with something that you have audiobooks, which there's no pictures, and then you have ebooks, which there's no narration, animation, or sound. So I think this is a great step. The thing to remember with their narrated ebooks is that they're only for Overdrive Read. It doesn't work in some formats, which I'll show you where they are. So when you go to, we have them, there's no way to search for them either. There's no format type that you can do an advanced search for. However, we have built out a collection. So under collections on the kids eMedia page, there's this list that's narrated ebooks for kids. There's a little over 100 titles. I'm going to show you an example. Borrow. I wanted to show you something first. Okay, so available formats. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. There was a place where you could go and it would tell you which formats. Oh, here we go. So when you're looking at a book, you can say it says available formats: Overdrive Read, PDF, ebook. On a Kindle, it has device restrictions. So if you click that, it'll tell you it's not supported on these devices. Doesn't mean you can't read it. You just won't. I don't think you'll be able to hear it. So even though you can listen to it, it works great on an iPad, but it does not work on an iPhone. So basically, any browser that you use with Overdrive Read, except for these ones right here. So you just click Read in your browser, and it will load up like so. Click Start Reading this book, and then down here at the bottom, you'll see this little button that says Start Narration. So I'm just going to click that.
The Promise of the Promise by Robert Munch and Michael Kuselback. Read by Robert Munch. This is an Andrew Craig production. www.andrewcraig.me. On the very first nice day of spring, Elisha was said, "I'm going to go fishing. I'm going to go fishing in the ocean."
And then down here, if you want to pause it, just click pause. And obviously, you can adjust the volume on your device for as soft or loud as you would like it. Like I say, last night I think my son and I checked out about 5 of these and read them before bedtime, and it was really nice to be able to do it. There was only one that was a little glitchy and it kept repeating some of the words every now and again, but for the most part it seems to work really well. If you have any questions, feel free to type into the chat down at the bottom. I mean, I can take lots of questions at the end of the presentation, but if you have anything specific as far as Overdrive Read or any of the Overdrive stuff, just go ahead and type it in the bottom. And it says currently the best browsers for Overdrive Read are Chrome, Safari, and Internet Explorer 11. Okay, the next update to Overdrive is Nook periodicals. CPL purchased Nook periodicals about mid-December, so it's been interesting to learn more about this that they're offering. A few things to note is that you will need the Nook app. You cannot read, because a lot of people are comparing this to Zinio, and you can't read these magazines in your browser. So this could be difficult for people with a Kindle, because even though a Kindle is an Android operating system, Amazon and Barnes & Noble are competitors. So Amazon does not have the Nook app in their marketplace. So when you're going to install apps on your Kindle, if you went to apps and then the store and searched for Nook, you wouldn't find it. I did test this on one of the library's Kindle Fires to see if I could sideload the Nook app, and I was able to after quite a bit of trial and error. I can send out instructions for this. All you have to do is make sure that on the Kindle Fire that you go into the application or device settings and allow third-party apps. That's the first step. And then go to GetJar. It's GETJAR, and search for the Nook app, and then click Download. And then you'll be able to install it on your Kindle. But for beginner users for Kindle, it's probably not going to be the easiest thing to do, but you are able to do it. The second thing to note is that there are no back issues. And what I mean by this is that when you go into Overdrive and you're looking at the issues, a major difference between Zinio and Nook is that Zinio has back issues for all the magazines, and those are set by either when Zinio purchased the rights to the magazine or when the library began their subscription. In Overdrive, there are no back issues listed. So you can go in and check out a magazine, come back in the next month and check out the next issue, and you can create your own back issues by checking out the magazines, but there's not going to be this long list that you can check out multiple issues. One of the nice features, the one thing that I really, really like about Nook periodicals is that you only have to authenticate once with Barnes & Noble. So where Zinio you have to go in and you basically sign in twice. You log in on the library's website, and then you log in on the Zinio through the Zinio app or the Zinio website. All you have to do, you only have to do that once with Nook periodicals. And I'll show you a short tutorial of how that works. And I'm really happy that Overdrive Technical Services, Tish had them put the magazines on the home page. So when we go back to our main collection, you notice before they were sort of hidden. But now that we're starting to learn about this and they worked out some of the bugs, you have new magazines that are listed right here. So they're right on the top. They're very visible. They're not here on this orange menu, but they are very easily accessible. You can also use advanced search and go into formats and choose Nook periodicals and then do a search, and that will show you all of the magazines. Can everyone see, if you can just, if you can raise your hand, so tell me if you can see, if you're looking at the CLEVNET Overdrive website with all of the magazines. Great. I'm flipping back and forth between these two websites, and I just want to make sure that as I'm flipping back and forth, you can see what I'm seeing. Great. So this is what it looks like when you first view the Nook Periodicals page. One of the things, the other thing I wanted to mention is that there are limits. So the first limit to know is that there is a 5-issue checkout limit for magazines, but not really, because what happens is when you check out a magazine, you click you get this issue. I'll do that now. And then you click Send to Nook Periodicals, and obviously it's not going to work on my computer because I don't have the Nook, I can't have a Nook app on my computer. It will go away off of your bookshelf. So as long as you keep sending everything to your Nook and it goes off of your Overdrive bookshelf, you can keep checking out more and more issues. But what will happen is that if a patron or if you're in here and you start checking out all these magazines, once you hit 6, it's going to tell you that you've reached your limit. So over here you can see my account, the periodical checkout limit is 5. But once I send the magazine to my Nook, it's off of my Overdrive bookshelf and I can check out more. The other limit to know about is the issue limit. You can see this by clicking List. Each magazine will tell you how many copies are available per issue. Every magazine, it's set per magazine. So, Air and Space, we have 200 per issue, and we can see how many have been checked out so far. Allure, we have 500, and Amazing Wellness, it's always available. So you're never going to have to worry about running out of issues. If Zinio is any indication of, we have subscription limits on Zinio as well, pretty much the same type of thing, and we've never had to worry about people being turned away. That's never happened yet. We've never checked out every issue, we've never run out of licenses for a magazine issue because it's not per year or per month. It is per month if it's a monthly magazine, but it's just per issue. See if I can think of anything else about. I think that pretty much covers everything about Nook periodicals. Okay, moving on. Zinio, moving right in from one periodical to the next. The Zinio, we have some cancellations. We've renewed most of our magazines, and we have a few additions. I have these located on the CLEVNET member site. Right at the top, you have digital magazines available for 2015. Actually, I did want to show you, I'm sorry, I apologize. I wanted to show you the video for Nook periodicals. It's a short 2-minute video. We'll just run through this real quick.
In this video, you'll learn how to get free periodicals from your digital library. Periodicals from your digital library come in the Nook periodicals format. To get Nook periodicals, you'll need access to your library's Overdrive website. Which you can find on overdrive.com or through the Overdrive app. You'll also need your library card or student ID and the free Nook Reading app or a supported Nook device. Visit your library's Overdrive website and sign in with your library card or student ID. You can search for a specific periodical or use the advanced search to find all titles in the Nook periodicals format. Once you find an available periodical, hover over or tap the jacket and select either Get This Issue to get a copy in one click, or select More to visit the title's Details page for more information. The Details page will tell you valuable information about the periodical, like how many copies of the issue are still available and which Nook devices and apps are supported. After you select Get This Issue, the periodical will appear on your library bookshelf. From here, select Send to Nook to send the periodical from your library bookshelf to your Nook device or app where you'll be able to read it. If you're getting a Nook periodical from your library for the first time, you'll be taken to a Barnes & Noble's page where you'll be asked to sign in with or create a free Nook account. After you sign in or create an account, select the Grant Access button. This is a one-time step that will allow periodicals to be sent from your library account to your Nook device or app. Once a Nook periodical has been successfully sent to Nook, it will automatically be cleared from your library account. This frees up space in your library account so you can get other periodicals. After you've successfully sent your periodical to Nook, switch over to your Nook device or Nook app. The periodical will appear in your Nook library. Simply tap on the periodical to begin reading. Nook periodicals from your library will stay in your Nook account until you delete them. You don't have to worry about returning them to your library. And
well, one thing to mention, the one thing that they kind of skipped over is that if it's the first time that you are checking out a Nook magazine and you download the Nook app, you're going to have to, if you don't have a Barnes & Noble account, or you'll have to create one, and if you do, you can sign in, but make sure that the emails are the same. And it'll ask you just to do that once, and then from there you won't have to do that ever again, which is great. Okay, so let me go back. Okay, so on the member site we have titles listed in this spreadsheet. I'm going to open this up. Make sure that I'm sharing this with you so you can see it. Can all of you see the Excel spreadsheet that I have up on my screen? Just go ahead and do the thumbs up if you can see that, and thumbs down if you can't. It doesn't look like it's allowing me to share it with you. Thumbs down. Okay. Let's try and sharing. Ah, there it is. Okay, now I'll try it. Okay. Now do you see the Excel spreadsheet? Just do a thumbs up so I can make sure that you're seeing what I'm seeing. Okay, great. Okay, so this spreadsheet is available on the CLEVNET member site. It's a list of titles of all the magazines that we have in both Overdrive and Zinio. A lot of magazines are in one or the other, although we do have some duplicates. Some magazines in Zinio were newly offered for this year. These are highlighted: Bon Appetit, Brides, GQ, Mac Life, Parents Magazine, Self, Vanity Fair, Vogue, and Wired. Okay, so those are new magazines. Those tend to be offered in both Overdrive and Zinio. Just, you know, we felt like it was okay to duplicate some of the more popular magazines. I mean, especially, you know, if someone has a Kindle, they're already used to downloading Zinio magazines. They might not want to have to download another, you know, another app to read a different kind of magazines. But it really depends on what you're looking at downloading. The other thing that I found to be kind of handy, especially for Nook, is to know how often the issues come up, especially because they don't have the back issues. So it's nice to know, you know, how often you should go in and check to see if there's a new issue. One of them that I wanted to point out that is available in Overdrive is USA Today. Those, you know, there are 260 issues, so if you want the latest one, you know, you have to go in there very often and download those. So again, this is a really handy list to know. Now, as far as cancellations go, here some of these magazines were not canceled. They are no longer available. They're no longer in a publication. Some of them were duplicated in Overdrive's Nook periodicals, so we decided, you know, it wasn't popular enough to have it in both places, or it was very expensive. We couldn't afford to keep it, or it was not a high-circling magazine and we wanted to put the money towards something more popular. So here's just a list: American Spectator, Architectural Record. Several of them are Spanish publications. And like Martha Stewart weddings, we have brides instead. So this is a good reference for you if someone's asking, well, why isn't the magazine in there? You can explain to them that it's either not in publication or it might be in overdrive, and you can see that up here. Sharing. I'm going to go back to the sharing. Okay, and the new magazines should take effect. They should be available sometime beginning mid-February. So if you go in there today, some like Bride and GQ will not be available in Zinio, but they are in Nook Periodical currently. And lastly, Hoopla will be coming hopefully sometime in the spring. The CLEVNET Online Resource Committee decided to go ahead and purchase it for the consortium. We do not currently have a launch date. We will be offering training prior to the launch. And for those of you, if you're not familiar with Hoopla, Hoopla is audiobooks, movies, music albums, and television shows. So the content, aside from audiobooks, the content is different than what we have in Overdrive. There is a 10-item circ per patron per month. This is set simply because we pay per circulation. So we put down a deposit, and then for every item that we circ, we pay, and the average, I think, is about $1.99 per circ. All of the checkout limits are different depending on what item type. So audiobooks, it's 3 weeks. Movies, I think it's a week. Music albums is also a week. Television shows, I have to double check. But it will tell them how many, when they first log into their Hoopla account, how many checkouts they have left for the month, and what the checkout is per item. And again, training opportunities will be available, and they'll be provided by the vendor as soon as we know when we're going to be going live with Hoopla. And that is pretty much sums up all of the updates. Feel free down in the bottom right-hand corner, if you have any questions. I know we had a lot of questions the first session that I did this webinar. So if you have questions, please use the chat in the bottom right-hand corner, and I will answer any of the questions that you have. You're welcome. I don't know if anyone has any questions, so if you don't have any questions, feel free to sign off. And like I said, I will send a link to the video of this webinar just in case you want to share it with coworkers or staff, and I will also post this to the CLEVNET member site as well.